What's going on, guys? So you guys are still asking me lots of questions about how to identify patterns, where to enter, where to put your stops, and how to even find stocks to trade. So in this video, we're gonna go over it one more time. Let's get right into it. Alright guys, so we're going to get right into it and we're going to go over some of my favorite patterns that I like to trade as a swing trade and even as a day trade. So every pattern that I'm showing you guys here is actually possible to be traded on the intraday level for day trades, quicks in and outs, as well as swing trading them. Alright guys, so without wasting any more of your time, let's get right into it. But before I do that, go ahead and subscribe, like, and make sure you comment down below what your favorite pattern is so I can make more videos on that as well. Alright guys, so let's get right into it. The first pattern we have here is obviously the bullish patterns that we're going to go over, and in another video we'll go over some of the bearish patterns. One pattern that's very popular out there is the flat top breakout. Now the flat top breakout usually happens with an aggressive move to the upside, some consolidation, but the top here is very clearly identified as a flat area that price action cannot get above. And at the bottom here, we're constantly making a lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. And eventually when we break out and you see volume start to come in, this is where you take your entry. Now, where do you put your stops? This pattern has a few spots that you can put your stops depending on how conservative or how tight you want your stops to be. One of the main stops that you can put is right under the second pivot below the price action. This way you have the ability to wait for a pullback and even sometimes get rid of that shakeout that market makers like to do before they continue higher. This stop here protects you from that and you can continue higher. The second area is obviously a lot lower. This gives you more of a price action to kind of sit through, possibly the 20 and even the 50, but this stop right here has to give you a good risk to reward if there is further upside with room to move. And I'm going to show you guys an example of all of this. Now that we've gone over the flat top breakout, another trade pattern that I love trading on the intraday level is the double bottom or the W reversal. Alright guys, so what happens here, we actually have price action that is falling down, that's pretty bearish. It's coming down, finds a bottom, comes up into this resistance area, and the second move down fails to break below the prior low and we bounce back up. So now at this point we have formed what we call a W or a double bottom, and the break of this neckline would be the entry. Now this one is a little bit different with your stops. If you want to have a tight stop, you can put it right below the prior breakout. This gives you the opportunity to have the retest and see if the retest holds. If not, comes out, then the pattern's going to fail and break, stops you out. But this leaves you to a little bit of a possibility with fake outs as well. Now, if you want to get away with the fake outs and you have room to the upside and your risk to reward allows for it, you could put your stops right at the bottom of the W and you can have your stop there. So again, you need to take into consideration your risk to reward when putting your stops right after your entry, and that's a whole nother video that we can get into in the future. One of the next patterns that I like trading is the falling wedge. This is my favorite pattern for swing trades as well as day trading. Very powerful pattern, very great pattern, very easy to spot and identify, and it's great for new traders as well. So what's going on here, guys? We have an aggressive bullish price action moving up, but we're constantly making lower lows and lower highs, pulling back, and price action is going from very big price action and getting tighter and tighter until we have an area where we're pulling back. Now this falling wedge is always a good pattern, and when you team that up with a moving average, an area of support, or a VWAP, then you have an area where you can take the breakout right here with increasing volume, and once that move takes off, you have the ability to put your stops right under this price action. The benefit of this is that you have an aggressive move coming into resistance, and now you have a nice pullback. So you're no longer chasing the top or chasing the breakout. You've waited for the pullback and now you're taking entries here. Gives you a tight risk to reward ratio with lots of room to the upside, because this right here is going to be your first target. All right, guys, I'll show you examples of all this as well. Now, the next one that's very easy to identify, however, it could go in any direction, is the bullish pennant. It's a bullish pennant because it comes up with an aggressive move to the upside, and we start making this little tight coiling action. And once we get a breakout of this area right here, we can take entries and stops right below the pivot here. All right, guys. Now, another thing with this is oftentimes we could actually break down and go further, and we can take that to the bearish side and put stops up here. However, that's a whole nother bearish setup that we'll talk about in the bearish patterns video. So again, guys, nice bullish price action coming into the consolidation here, and the breakout here would be your entry and stops right there. Let's get to the last one, the cup and handle. Cup and handle is a very good pattern that happens again on the daily if you're able to spot it, and on the intraday level more and more and more. You know, you're watching the intraday levels, and patterns can set up a lot more quickly than actually watching daily levels. So with the cup and handle pattern, what we're looking for here is a bullish move to the upside. We're getting rejection at a resistance area, and we're kind of coming back and making this little cup. Now, when price action hits this prior resistance area, we see some selling pressure, which gives us the handle, and at the third entry, at the third area right here, coming into resistance again, then we can get that breakout. And once we do, we enter right here at the breakout. The stops can go right here at the bottom of the handle, or again, if your risk to reward allows for it, you can put your stop at the bottom of the cup. But this is a pretty wide stop. You need to ensure that you have room to the upside to give you at least, at minimum, a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Now, if you guys don't understand what risk to reward is, or what 1-to-1 means, in another video I will explain all that. But for now, we're going to keep it simple and tell you guys, if there's resistance levels up there that don't match your stop, for example, if this is $5 and the stop at the bottom here is going to be 5 points, and you have a ceiling or a resistance area at 2 points, then that's not a good risk to reward. If you're going to risk $5, you want to be able to make at least $5 profit on the upside. All right, guys, so with that said, we're going to get into a few examples here, and I'll show you guys what I mean. So let's get right into it, guys. The flat top breakout right here, we discussed a bullish move to the upside and a straight flat area of resistance that we failed to get above multiple times, and then we break out. So here is an example on BABA. This is from Friday. The price action here showed us what? We had an aggressive move to the upside. We had this consolidation price action that we failed to get above, and then once we did get above that level, we just took off. You see that, guys? So the same thing that's happening right here. We have that price action, we're going like this, and then once we get out of here, we really just take off, guys. Now, where do we set our stops here? We can set our stops right here. We can set our stops right here. And if you want to be more conservative, we set our stops right here. But as you can see, I have some resistance area right here. So I need to understand what my profit potential is, and is my risk to reward going to be a good area if I put my stops all the way down here. And again, risk to reward, calculating risk will be another video that I will get into. The next pattern that we're going to talk about is the double bottom reversal. All right, guys, so here's an example on Uber from last week. We can see that we have a move to the downside here. We hit an area of support, we bounce up, hit an area of resistance, pull back down, we hit this same area of support down here again, we push up, and this right here, this is our neckline, and then we get that breakout, which takes us straight higher. Okay, so where could we have put our stops? We could have put our stops right here, or we could have put our stops right here, right? This would be our entry, and we had our stops right here and right here, and we just simply took off. All right, let's get into the other one. All right, next pattern we're gonna go through is my favorite pattern again, the falling wedge. So here in this example, we can see that we have an aggressive move up. We hit this resistance level, we pull back, pop back up, resistance level, pop down here, come back down a little bit, and then we kind of break out, right? So once we get this breakout, this is what I was talking about, and having that retest. So we retest that level, and then we take off. This is exactly what I was referring to when putting your stops. You should put it right below here in case we get that retest. So for example, here we have that push, we have this consolidation that takes place. In this example, we kind of take off. However, in the live example, you can see that we came back, consolidated above that level, and then took off. So just like anything, guys, guys, nothing is going to be picture perfect. Okay, we can see that we have this pattern, we've spotted it, we got that breakout. Had we put our entries right here at this area right here, and we had our stops right here at this level, we were still would have been in the trade, and we would have took off and hit our targets, which will probably be the first target right here. Always be able to identify these patterns, take the entry. That's all we can really do, and then let our stops and profit targets kind of work with the rest. All right, let's get into the next one. Okay guys, so this example is the cup and handle. Like I said, it could be spotted on the intraday level as well as on the daily level. Regardless of what time frame you're trading, that's where your profit targets are going to be. So here's another example here. We have BABA. We have this move down. We come right here into resistance again, and we pull back, and then we have this breakout, which we take, and it just takes off. All right, guys. So your entry would be right here. You can put your stops right here, and then that way you can calculate it if you have more potential to the upside, and if this is good risk to reward trade for you to take. Right? We can see that we have this move here. We get this price action right here. Come up to this resistance area, perform the cup, and then once we get there, we take off. We put our stops right here. Now look at this comparison. Price action is not always going to be perfect. This is why you need to train your eyes to be able to spot this. We can see that what's really happening here is we're getting this price action and we're chopping around here, right? We're chopping it around, but we are essentially forming that cup and handle, right? We are actually forming that cup and handle right here and then breaking out. So you need to train your eyes to be able to identify patterns, even though sometimes they can get a little bit choppy. And that's where A+ setups and non-A+ setups come into play. Sometimes the pattern looks perfect and other times not so perfect. And that's when you need to be able to gauge whether you're going to take this trade, the pattern's perfect or not, and if it's going to match your risk to reward ratio. So we went over the patterns, how you guys can enter the trade, where you guys can put your stops. Now, how do you find stocks to trade? Again, I've gone over this multiple times, but I'm gonna do it one more time for you guys so you guys can understand how to find stocks to trade and how to go about doing so. All right, when you guys are sitting around at nighttime, have nothing to do, some of you just sit around, watch Netflix, you need to be able to find patterns, find stocks so you guys can trade them the morning of. Don't sit around and do nothing all day and all night and hope to wake up at 9:30 in the morning and find a stock that's moving so you guys can trade it. Give yourself a plan. Fail to plan and you're gonna plan to fail. All right, guys, so understand that every night, sit down, go through this list. There's gonna be hundreds of pages that you need to go through, but if you wanna take your trading career seriously, then you need to really buckle down, sit down every night before, go through this list, wake up an hour and a half before the market opens, give yourself the game plan, and once you have a plan to succeed, then that's when you actually will succeed. All right, guys, so let's get right into it. I want you guys to take note of 3 major things here, or 4 major things here. Once you go to Finviz, you want to be able to put the average true range. These are the scan criteria that I use, guys. There's no secret code here. This is it right here. Average true range above 0.75, average volume above 500, relative volume over 1, current volume over 500. Make sure you guys put these in. Now this gives me a very wide range of stocks to go over, but that's okay with me because I don't want to cut quarters. I don't want to, shorten my list. I want to see everything that's moving so I can be ready and prepared to find the next moving stock. All right, guys, so now that we have that, we have our scan here, probably about 23 pages. We've sorted it by volume. All you gotta do is click this volume button, sort it by volume, and then we'll go through this list. So I'm gonna be very quick here. First and foremost, we have WFC, right? WFC, we can see that it's slightly forming that double bottom that we talked about. We're coming into that neckline, and if we break that neckline, we can move higher. So this is exactly what I do every night. I come here, go through these 23 pages, every single stock that I'm looking at, I see this little mini graph to the side of it. I look at it. If I have any other patterns that we talked about, then I bring it up to the chart, go over the chart, give myself an entry, give myself a stop, and that's how we can trade and become successful. You can't wake up 10 minutes before market opens and think you're gonna succeed in this. Here again, NEO, we can see that we have a little bit of a flat top formation there that broke out recently, and on Friday we had a nice breakout. So if you guys caught this on Thursday night, you would have been able to take this trade Friday morning. I just keep going down this list until I find patterns. HUT, another one here, a beautiful cup and handle that broke out, and if you guys had this plan on Thursday, you guys would have been able to then take position on this and ride this. We actually had this in the Discord. People made some pretty good money on HUT on Friday. All right, guys, so we just simply keep going down this list until we see a pattern that we like, until we see something that fits our criteria, and then we can trade it. All right, guys, there's no secret to it. Put in the elbow work, put in the grease, sit down an hour or two before you go to bed every night, and wake up an hour and a half early, have a game plan, have trigger points, get in, get out, make your money, respect your stops, and that's all it comes down to. All right, guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe to the channel so when I do make videos, you guys will get notified. And please go ahead, comment down below, let me know how much value you got out of this video and what other videos you want me to make. Do you guys enjoy the falling wedge, the cup and handle? And let me know what your favorite pattern is so I can make more videos on that. All right, guys, thank you for watching and have yourself a blessed and wonderful Sunday night.